Hello everyone. I want to discuss an issue today that's been getting increasing coverage, but there's also been criticism that it hasn't got the sort of coverage that it deserves. So I'm making my own little video here to try and raise awareness of the issue and also share some thoughts. So basically what happened was a few weeks ago, a large group of schoolgirls were kidnapped in northern Nigeria by the Islamist group Boko Haram. Now, if you recognise the name, it's because this group has been waging a war against the Nigerian government for the last 10 years or so. They have a lot of blood on their hands. They have committed a lot of atrocities in northern and central Nigeria. The name, and Nigerian told me, literally translates as Western education is forbidden. Boko Haram, a very vile organisation. They're basically Nigeria's Taliban. And they've targeted anyone that doesn't subscribe to their ideology. So this is one of the most notable incidents they've been involved in, but there's been widespread criticism that it hasn't been sort of covered in the media as much as it should have been. By the media, we're talking about Western media. It's not true that it's got no attention. It has been featured more and more, but there's an allegation that had this been a group of white schoolgirls, that would have been front page news and a major international story. But because they're black Nigerian girls, then it's somehow considered less important. I can see the controversy with that. I think that has been the case. Although, having said that, the foremost responsibility obviously lies with the Nigerian government. That's the country that it's happened in, and they have a responsibility to protect their citizens. Now, the war with Boko Haram has been getting increasingly bloody, and this year alone, as many as 2,000 people may have been killed. That's according to Amnesty International. So this is definitely one of the most violent years so far in this conflict with Boko Haram, and the Nigerian government isn't innocent either. They've also had civilian blood on their hands. So unfortunately, as with so many conflicts, it's the people who are paying the price. There's been widespread criticism in Nigeria that the government hasn't done nearly enough, and I've even just read a report. Now, I have to say, this is not my own view, this is just something I've read, that the First Lady of Nigeria apparently has shown sort of concern publicly, but then has ordered the arrest of 2 women who were protesting at government inaction. So there does seem to be a lack of transparency in what is going on here. The former British Prime Minister Gordon Brown has weighed in on this. He's been heavily involved in African issues since he stepped down from office. He has called for international military assistance to the Nigerian government, such as air support. And he's also approached the British government to discuss the possibility of military assistance. I'm quoting this from The Guardian. Brown has also stressed his view that he is very concerned and shocked, was the word he used, at the lack of international coverage. He's planning to meet President Goodluck Jonathan in Abuja next week to discuss the abduction. I think, there's been... What's despicable is that Boko Haram spokesman has said, "We have your daughters, we're going to sell them at market." I mean, these people are absolutely callous, but what the parents must be going through at this time must be unimaginable. To have a child kidnapped is horrendous, but to have them kidnapped knowing the perpetrator is a group like Boko Haram, it doesn't spare thinking what could be going on there. They could be brainwashing the girls, they could be using them for, dare I say it, sexual slavery, goodness knows what. So Brown, by the way, has been reluctant to criticise the Nigerian government, and I too am reluctant to go in and say, "Oh, they've been terrible, they haven't done this, they haven't done that," because I don't know. I suspect there maybe is things going on behind the scene that we don't necessarily know about. That's often the case, but certainly there's been a bad perception that they haven't done nearly enough. Anyway, I'll just round it off there. I'll put a link to that Guardian article. I haven't read it out in full because it's quite a comprehensive article. But by the way, Brown has also spoken about the fact that more than 10 million Nigerian children don't go to school. Mr. Brown has been an advocate for education in developing countries since his post-premiership. I think he's been a little bit like Jimmy Carter actually. He's sort of like Britain's Jimmy Carter. He's done a lot of humanitarian work since leaving Number 10. It's got almost no attention in the press. The only reason I say that is because Brown is often pilloried in the British press, and I think that's unfair. But anyway, this isn't about Gordon Brown, this is about the issue of these Nigerian schoolgirls, and let's just hope they can be returned soon with minimal casualties. But it just shows you how far Boko Haram will stoop, how low Boko Haram will stoop in their vicious theocratic war. And why the Nigerian government, far from being innocent, nevertheless they need to defeat Boko Haram, because if they ever get power in the whole of northern Nigeria, which is their intention, we will see that become another Afghanistan. I suspect in areas where they have control that's already been the case. Boko Haram is an organisation with absolute callous contempt for human lives. It's an organisation that has doctrines including stoning, amputation, fascist control of non-Muslims, you name it. It's just a very, very sinister organisation. No better than Al-Shabaab, the Taliban, or any other Islamist group that has the same agenda, which is violent subjugation of anyone who doesn't conform to their ideology. So I hope this situation was resolved soon.